triple stick of dynamite. We'll just call it dynamite because this really does look traditional, just like dynamite. Might want to get back a good ways. Hey guys, I thought I would talk a little bit about why M-80 firecrackers are legal, as they are really popular types of firecrackers, and it should be some pretty common knowledge at this point that M-80 firecrackers are large and loud firecrackers, which is as good enough of a reason as any for people to try to obtain these firecrackers, build them, or possibly even market them. In this video, I want to cover the danger of these devices and why you shouldn't handle them without being properly trained, licensed, or under any circumstance, ignore any kinds of safety presented by others, and on the fact sheets. In case some of you did not know already, M-80 firecrackers contain what is known as flash powder, and it is not just any kind of ordinary powder that propels bullets or projectiles. For that matter, it is just an explosive powder, and can even go boom without a confined space around it. Flash powder is considerably of the most powerful of all firework chemical compounds. It is used in just about all consumer fireworks for the break or report that is provided in the display, and may detonate if and only if the pressure wave is faster than the speed of sound, which in this case is not very difficult to achieve. Flash powder can also be set off very easily by friction or static buildup via humidity, and because aluminum powder is a metal, which is one of the ingredients in flash powder, it has different physical properties than other firework ingredients, and when mixed together with an oxidizer, can blow up from shock, similar to tannerite when compressed or suddenly jerked with an impact velocity greater than or relatively close to 2,000 feet per second, depending on the formula used. One thing that may be simple about M-80 firecrackers is the fact that they really only contain two ingredients, which would be potassium perchlorate and aluminum powder, and upon mixing them together, have a highly reactive substance and can blow up with just about any spark that comes in its way. Humidity factors are also a problem for static buildup within the environment of creating fireworks. For instance, the less humidity, the higher probability of static charge building up on a surface. Once the surface has a large enough electrical potential difference, contacting the ground with the charged surface while the mixed contents are nearby can only mean bad news, as one spark is all it takes, and whoever or whatever may have seen better days. The science here is really simple. Take a balloon that does not float due to too much helium having escaped, rub it against your hair for 10 seconds, and contact it against the ceiling. The balloon will stick because of the charge of the ceiling, different than the balloon, and as soon as all the electrons are transferred, the charge will finally balance, bringing the balloon back on the ground. If this property can be applied while creating fireworks, all that is needed is a specific type of surface. The charge can be emitted and balanced very quickly, hence causing a spark to only mean the worst of what would be ahead. If the environment used during firework construction has ventilation, the pneumatical flow of the air will also carry any particles with it, and obviously since fireworks are being built within that environment, the air will contain small amounts of aluminum powder, sulfur, and potassium XYZ, building up on an area where the particles will stick to and over time become hazardous, with a possible explosion down the road. And of course this goes without mentioning electrical equipment such as outlets, disconnect power panels, radios, TVs, computers, and a whole lot else that may cause this powder that is building up to react. Again, a lot of that would be really hard to see depending on the physics of the air and where the flash powder content is carried. There is not a whole lot else to say about this, except for, as said before with the static electricity analogy, all it takes is one spark, and a catastrophic failure can await you. It is simply too dangerous to handle flash powder without proper training. For this reason, and many others that I will be covering in this video, M-80s and other large firecrackers are not legal to create without the proper licenses in place, along with additional licenses in the state that may be required when discharging, as well as transporting them for clubs or the PGI and different types of personal use. As of December 6, 1976, the Consumer Product Safety Commission limited any type of firecracker to contain no more than 50 milligrams milligrams of flash powder content. To understand the scale of 50 milligrams, well, we know that 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams, and with this understanding, 50 milligrams is a 20th of a single gram. As many of you are probably already aware, firecrackers, as far as the legal ones are concerned, are pretty loud and powerful, and you could only imagine what 1 gram of flash powder is capable of with 20 times the force and loudness, which would be ferocious indeed. Getting a little more hands-on with this, let's take into consideration the size of a cherry bomb, M80, or Salute. A cherry bomb firecracker may contain anywhere from 2 to 4 grams of flash powder, ranging from 40 to 80 times the legal amount of explosive content, while an M80, generally known to carry around 3 grams of flash powder, would contain 60 times the legal limit of flash powder. Try to imagine something with 60 times the amount of chemical potential energy or force, minus applying the stress formula with load and surface area, as well as the tensile strength of the enclosure considered. An M80 firecracker is most certainly not the kind of thing to have explode near your skin or eyes, as it can cause blindness, the loss of a limb, or severe burns. Salutes are also in containing of a large content of flash powder, and depending on the size, they may range from 27 grams NEC or flash content all the way up to the sky's limit. Do the math here, and you will find it quite unsurprisingly 540 times greater than a consumer firecracker. Again, not accounting the properties of the pressure wave after the explosion. What we already have here is some basic common sense as for why M80 firecrackers are illegal and dangerous, and without proper training should not be used or illegally distributed. Speaking of distribution, it is one of the largest problems with M80 firecrackers, not counting that they are just illegal to make, but to also market under the table. For instance, 4th of July every year cannot go untold that somebody or someone will always look for ways to purchase, create, or illegally market M80s simply because they are trying to enjoy a good boom. And this would be nothing out of the ordinary. However, there are already enough problems regarding M80s minus where the intent lies. For instance, if you did not create the M80 firecracker, how exactly will you know what is inside it? Or as simply put, if it is made correctly. Some examples of this may be if the fuse burns long enough to back away from, if the mixtures are safely combined. An example, potassium chlorate and sulfur getting mixed together, which should never happen given that the mixture will become unstable and overly sensitive. Another valid question to ask here is if there are even the slightest amounts of granite that may rub together within the mixture that the builder was unaware of, that upon shaking or moving the firecracker, it may blow up due to friction. There are seemingly and unsurprisingly virtually no ways of guaranteeing safety with M80s to an absolute degree, especially when they are dealt under the table. Minus the unawareness, as well as those who make dumb decisions with fireworks, there are just too many reasons why things like M80s and other homemade things are illegal, even for those who are licensed and looking to enjoy pyro. On behalf of following all the rules accordingly when building or handling fireworks, still risk a minuscule potential of a firework blowing up unintentionally. One of the most simple reasons for this is just due to the possibility of human error slipping in, as well as unaccounting 1 or 2 factors when transporting or dealing with flash powder. The purpose of this video is not to scare you, but just to simply give you an insight for M80 firecrackers, why the safety should lie in place first, and that you really should never engage with something like this without proper training. Again, because this video is mainly to present why M80s are illegal, I will not touch too much on the categories as well as licenses required, and this is mainly due to the vast amount of information that I would have to cover, as well as regulations changing every year, and it really would just make this video well over an hour long, well beyond the scope of this topic. Until I have more time to research all of the different licenses required, as simply put, I will not have that information working well enough to present to YouTube at this very moment. As stretched as it sounds, simply do the research yourself and find out whatever it is that is required for the type of firework you want, and read the ATF's webpage to assist you in legally obtaining them. Well, that's it for this video. Be sure to check out my video on where strobe rocket fireworks come from, as well as my video on the difference between firecrackers and dynamite, as they really are the only other 2 demonstrative videos that I have with a commentary like this one in them, and hopefully they will give you a better insight. Be sure to comment if you have any questions, and I will see you guys next time.